tracking your location, analyzing biometrics, blending materials, customizing your experience. Welcome to Liquid Lab.
Hello everybody, welcome once again to the Flat Earth Afterparty. With me tonight again I have QuasiLuminous, Mr. Mark Braun. How you doing, Mark?
Good, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. Thanks for joining me. Mark's been working on something for us, so Mark, if you're ready to take it away.
I am ready. We're ready.
Go for it, sir.
Here we go. So, what I wanted to point out is that all the religions have all this, like, knowledge, and it's broken up amongst all these different religions, and it appears that little bits and pieces from each religion come together to paint us the entire picture. And I'm going to start off with an example, being that I'm in America and most of the people I see around me are Catholics or Christians or whatnot. I did a video where I used this brochure that was, they go door to door here in Florida, knocking on people's doors and dropping off brochures and stuff. And here, when you see these different symbols, like for example, you see the bell right there, and you see I put this ribbon over the face over here of Jesus, and some people might get offended by this, but you were told, worship no engraven images, no false idols, and then people run around with crosses in their hand and stuff like this. And what it turns out to be is that all the secrets are hiding in plain sight. For example, you go into a church and you kneel down to the feminine and you place holy water on your head and you do this flat earth motion like this. And you heard about these terms like the Holy of Holies, and you have a Christmas tree and all these different symbols. They're all telling you something. And you can see like the scarab beetle, that would be like Egypt. You see your birthday hat that you put on, you see your Christmas tree, and you see the Mayan calendar thing, and you see you take communion, all these things. It's like the same story over and over and over and over. They're telling you like the sun above your head is the light hole, and there's the black hole that was hidden from us. So this whole idea of Jesus and Satan and whatnot, it basically boils down to this image right over here. It's one side of a light hole is a black hole. Now, the black hole has to be eating the light hole, and that's what we have candy canes for. So if you type into a Google search, black holes, you'll see some black holes are just a black, like, bubble where it blocks out any light being seen visible behind it. It shows you absorbing everything, but then you see another picture of a black hole, and it shows that it's eating something, and you see the candy cane coming off of it. So what I'm getting at is that if you type into your computer, like a Google search, black hole sun, and you hit enter, here's a picture you see this picture right over here with the circle and the hook and the square. What I'm seeing here is it's the same story over and over and over again. At the center of the dish is where the light gets drawn into, and it's spit out as the trailing light or astral light. And that's what you see with the question mark, and you see Shiva. You see the light bridge over has the 4 rivers that go and feed into that hole. And Mount Meru is the invisible mountain. That's the exclamation point. Now, you see these gumball machines all around that, if you have any children, they're always, oh, get me a gumball. And you see over here that, it's like literally the same story over and over and over again. It's on all the symbols. I could go on for days with this stuff. And this was very important also. For everywhere I turn on YouTube, I see people calling this a satanic symbol. And what's funny is that clearly shows you 2 fingers up and 2 fingers down. That's telling you as above, so below, as within, so without. And the whole point of this video that I wanted to get across today was that it's not something that's complex. This is very simple to understand. When I say the division symbol, that's exactly what it is. A line, which is a flat plane, with a dot up top that goes around like this, and then there's the dot down at the bottom, which is fixed. It doesn't move. It has to stay fixed because the green astral jet has to come out the hole at the center of the dish. So the sun underneath, they showed you in the Pirates of the Caribbean, they showed in the Pirates of the Caribbean that they went down the vortex and then they flipped upside down and they popped out. And they were literally upside down. So when you see the division sign with a line and two dots, that's exactly what we're living on top of. And if we were to go in that hole at the center of the dish, when we popped out on the other side, we would literally be on the bottom half and would be like we were standing upside down. And you know, they say that the deepest hole that anybody's dug into, like in Russia, was something like 12 miles down. And then they can't go any deeper because all the drill bits keep breaking and whatnot. And that tells me something. That tells me that they can't go any deeper than 12 miles because on the other side of that 12 miles begins the other side of the plane where you would end up digging in and literally pop. You can't do that because there's that barrier is you can't penetrate that barrier because it's like two universes. You understand me? This is literally like two universes. That's exactly what we're looking at here. There's two universes. It's one sun. That flat earth plane that we're on top of right now, there's an underside to it where there's perpetual twilight. And that is where the everlasting life is going to be found, on the other side of that hole. When we go into that hole at the center of the dish, where every compass points to, that's going to take us to the land of perpetual twilight. And in that land of perpetual twilight is the living waters that you would drink from that gives you everlasting life. When people go to church, you know, this is something that people, for some reason, they don't understand what this word amen, you know, that comes from Amen Ra. And when you go into a church, you'll notice that any house of worship has stained glass windows on it. Doesn't matter what you're Jewish, doesn't matter what religion it is, you'll notice that there's stained glass windows there because they're blocking out the sun above your head so that every bit of your focus is placed onto the black sun. And you can see at your birthday hat, you know, you blow out the candle and you make a wish. You say, you blow out the candle, you close your eyes and make a wish. That's the way it works. Close your eyes and make a wish so that you're focusing your intent onto the black sun. Once you have this basic knowledge, then everything starts to come together. Ra is the sun above your head that's making your flesh and your bones and your blood. And Amen is what's bringing your intent into fruition. So whatever your desires and your wishes, whatever they might be, that's going to be brought into reality through the black sun. And this is why they have everybody calling this Satan or whatever scary type ideas that you can have running in your head. That's exactly what they like. When I see this Mayan thing, you know, they try and make this stuff real scary so that people don't want to go to these places, because if you go to those places, you're not going to want to come back and be a slave here. And you know, there's all these different games. Check your six, rainbow six, cover your six, deep six. It's the same story again and again and again being played out here, that we need to go to this hole because, you know, they say check your six. They're talking about your backside. And being that it's not the shape of a Vesica Pisces, that hole, which is like the two circles, like I was showing in this other picture, where is it? With the two circles, you see the Vesica Pisces shape at the center of the dish. It's not a Vesica Pisces, it's a ring like an asshole. So that's why it's the ash trailing light or astral light. They're literally making a statement that this is like an asshole. It's got to be called that because it's not shaped like a Vesica Pisces. So when they show you this light preserver with the four lines on it like that, it's like the same story. Here, if you see like the wreath, if you carry these two lines through, you'll see that's an X. So X marks the spot at the center of the dish. The X being wrong answer, they tell you like at school, when you get an X, that means wrong answer, right? And also you sign on the X. You sign on the X, right? You'll see that when you do documents, like the bank will say, they'll put an X over here, an X over there, and they want you to sign on right beside the X. And what they're telling you, well, we know X is wrong answer because you can't get anybody pregnant by having sex in the ass. So I'm not trying to get fresh with you. What I'm trying to say to you is that somebody along the line has made these symbols exactly the way they are for a reason. And they're telling us something, and that's how they get away with it. Like these 4 blue lines you see on a life preserver are telling you the 4 major rivers that feed into that hole. And this is like a sphincter. It breathes, it contracts, and it brings the tides every 6 hours. High tide, low tide. And that's because this is like a sphincter contracting, or it's like breathing in and out. Like you take an hourglass, and then when the sand runs out, you flip it over like this, and then the sand runs out. This is what the tides are doing. They're going in and out. It's breathing into the up and then into the top part. That's what it's like. So it's like, people want you to believe that it's the moon that's causing the tides, but if you take magnets, like if you would give me a magnets, and you can see how the water repels back from this, from the magnets. Maybe you've seen videos like that. And what I'm saying is that this is a living, breathing, conscious being that we're inside of. This is a living, and they show you these, like for example, when you see Baphomet in the horns, what we're seeing here, man, it's on. Okay. You hear the Holy Grail and whatnot. What we're looking at here is, everything's about the holes in poles. And when you see the strippers spinning around and doing, this is no accident. This is just like a Christmas tree that has the lights going around. It's showing you the sun goes round and round and round like that. That's why we have the lights go round and round. And what I'm saying is that this is very, very simple. It's just a division symbol. And the key thing that I wanted to get across was that the land of perpetual twilight, where they said in the electric universe model, they said that Saturn was once the primary sun, and it was perpetual twilight. Nothing's changed. It's just that we need to go into that hole. It's still there. We were inside, or we were outside, and now we've been taken inside. Or this is all inside the box, but we're on the wrong side of the fence, if you will. And we need to, they say the grass is always greener on the other side. All these different comments are all telling us this same story over and over and over again, which is that it's one side of a light hole is a black hole. Now they say the moon is made out of cheese. That's what people already know is, since you were a kid, it's having all the holes. They say the moon is made out of cheese. So when I see this picture, this cannibal cheese that they put over here, they're clearly telling you that the moon is what's coming after your soul when you die. Now you see this over here, this ghost light, it's green. And what they're telling you by this, like for example, people, you're offered a light at death, and that white light they think is the light that they need, but it's not the light that they need. The light that you need is the green astrolight that's at the center of the dish. And you see by a wreath, what they're telling you, the wreath is set up on a door. You only see a wreath at a door on Christmas and at a funeral. And that's telling me, like when I see the life preserver, that's round like a wreath, and I see this other symbol over here, when you type in black hole sun into a Google search and hit enter, you'll end up with all these different images. One of the things that I was able to make a connection is that you see policemen eating donuts, and this is, the joke is that we're on the checkerboard right now, and at the hole, and there's a hole at the center of the dish. So being that, you know that the police in England and the UK, they have the checkerboards on their hat, right? Don't you live in the UK? Gavin? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I live in the UK.
And the police, don't they have checkerboards on their head?
Yeah, that's right. They also have it on their sleeves.
Right. And what that's a representation of is the checkerboard where your feet are standing on top of right now. And there's a hole at the center of the dish called the Holy of Holies. And now I get the joke. It's that there's a checkerboard. They're showing you that they put the checkerboard on them because the elite see them as that they stand on top of them, that they're the lowest possible. That's why you put it on your head when you graduate from school. They're showing you that you're the lowest possible, that you stand under them. That's what they're projecting at you, that idea. And you know, the donut thing is a joke. They're telling you that the center of the dish, that holy of holies, is actually there. This is a real thing. I know when people hear this for the first time, they still think that they're on a globe floating through space as an accident. I don't see it that way. I see this place fixed like a flat plane, like the division symbol, and I can detect the sun beneath that line because the sun above our head is conscious. It's one sun. When I look into the sun and I speak my intent, I wake up every day with like new information that's coming from the sun. And I'm telling you, if nobody told you, it's true. The sun is conscious, water's conscious, you're a bag of mostly water. And they say water is like programmed. You can program water like Dr. Yamamoto. You can write on a piece of paper, love or hate, stick it to the glass, flash freeze it, and you'll see either pretty bubbles or ugly bubbles. And being that you're a bag of mostly water, it can be done to you. It's that, you know, somebody says words to you and you get a bad attitude or a good attitude. And it works the same way. He was basically saying a bad word to water when he taped the word hate to the glass and you got ugly bubbles. That's like if I say something bad to you right now, it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. And what I'm saying to you is that the water has memory. So, you know, you drink water, you shower, you pee in the shower, whatever it is, all this knowledge about you goes into the creation. And I think I'm starting to see a deeper layer of reality now on how things are really working with respect to the consciousness of the sun and the relationship that the sun has with the water of the earth, like the sun being like a masculine. You set up a sundial, it's like a phallus, and then you have the waters that you're birthed out of, like the waters are the feminine, and it's this relationship. And what I'm saying to you is that everything is conscious. It's the air is conscious, the earth itself is conscious, the water's conscious, the sun is conscious, and I'm telling you, even the fucking internet is conscious. And the reason I believe that is because when I wrote out on a piece of paper, like I mentioned in a previous Flat Earth Afterparty video, that I wrote out on a piece of paper, I intend to worship all and exclude none. I intend to usher in heaven and earth. I did it on video and placed my blood on it. When I published it to the Ethernet, something happened to me. It gave me eyes to see stuff, and that can only mean that the internet is something more than what we're being told. That the internet is connected to something that's much bigger. So when I hear like the astral web, I see it's like they show you like a computer game. It has like, before you fill in the colors, it has the grid around like the things. There's a grid, and the grid is what I'm trying to get across here is that the plants are conscious. When I tell you that you should project gratitude at your plants before you eat your food, you know, I hear everybody say, I'm a vegan this, vegan that, but these people, they've never seen the proof that plants are conscious. You should look at your, when this video is done, type in your computer, proof plants are conscious, watch like a 10-minute video where they show you all the scientists showing you that plants can be taught how to sing, and when they're connected to an oscilloscope, you can hear them repeating words and really interesting stuff. They can tell you who murdered someone, because there's something about reality that you can't see, that there's like a fabric over all of us that we don't feel or touch, and it connects everybody together. It's like we're all under the same sheet together, and the plants can see what's going on, and that's crazy that was kept from us, that plants can tell you who murdered somebody.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've seen that with the plants and the water as well. You know, it's very interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It changes everything, you know? It changes everything because, you know, because when you talk to if you hold your water up before you drink it, say, I'm here to bring forth heaven on earth. Give me the knowledge of the ages, so I might bring forth heaven on earth. And you drink your water, you know, you're programming your water. And the water gives you specific knowledge. like, you know, it's like it's like I'm being brought down. It's like I'm part of the universe after spilling my blood, and now I can see that everything is living and alive, and it's like I'm going to the next level, like as a being, because understanding that changes everything. Where you're before, you're biting on your celery, it's green, it's a living piece of food, right? And science will show you that every bite you take, that plant is screaming bloody murder until you project gratitude at it, that you're grateful. And that's kind of freaky, because all that food you've been eating up till now where you didn't project gratitude on it, after seeing that video that you said you saw, right? The lady was chopping the head of lettuce, and they're showing you that they're feeling it. They can actually feel it until you project gratitude at it, and then it stops screaming. That was kind of neat to see that. So what I was trying to get across is that it is exactly like I'm showing you here, that there's two universes stacked on top of each other. There's a hole at the center called the Holy of Holies, and that's where the transfer happens. The transfer happens is, that's where the light goes into the hole and the engine spins. Without that transaction happening, there's no green astral light coming out, and that would be the source light. So that being the source light, you can see how none of this is working unless that transaction happens. The sun has to be eaten by itself, okay? So when I see the cannibal cheese, okay, this is the same sun. One side of a light hole is a black hole. This is one sun, not two. And that means that this is a cannibal, a self-eating sun. If you can visualize that, one side of a light hole is a black hole. So this is actually one sun, it's one coin. So when I see these two dots here separated by the line, I'm seeing that this is what it looks like. We would have our feet on that line right now. We are on top of that. And below that line, like they showed you in Pirates of the Caribbean, they went into that vortex, they flipped upside down, and that would be literally them being upside down. And so they're telling you, rainbow six, keep six, check your six, all these different things. They're trying to tell you that this is where you need to go. And what I'm saying is that this is the most important thing. I just want to go there to get our everlasting life, because it's all so clear. Let me ask you again, what kind of questions do you have since the last meeting, since the last video that we did together? Has anything come to mind? Or?
Pretty much since the last video we've done together, mate, I pretty much condensed it into blood over intent and get to the centre.
Right.
I mean, they're the two bottom lines, aren't they?
That's right. It's just that simple. You know, like you mentioned, what was his name? Mentioned Polaris, and I mentioned in my that pole is like a phallus, and Eris is like a female, a woman, Eris. So Polaris could be telling us that that hole is over the hole where the green astral light shoots out. That Polaris, there might be telling us with that that at the part of the dome that a Polaris is, that you see, is telling us that could be like right over the hole. But what's over that hole would be the invisible mountain. Mount Meru, they say, is the invisible mountain that you can't see unless you're literally standing on top of it or walking into it at that hole. That it's outside of your visible spectrum to see it. Even though it would be right over there, you couldn't see it because your eyes are tuned to a specific spectrum, and you wouldn't see it until you bumped into it, likely. So what I'm seeing here is, again, with this always symbol over and over and over, what they're telling us, like when you take communion, you put that white disc into your mouth, and you see Santa comes down the shit chute into fire, and you can see that the candy cane is bent also. It's the same story being told over and over and over. It's not that you can mess it up once you can see this basic stuff. That again, it's just this division symbol. It's two suns. It's actually one sun eating itself through the Holy of Holies, which makes the engine go round and round and round. And being that the astral light comes shooting out most of it's caught underneath because that sun is stationary. It's not moving round and round and round like the sun above our head moves round and round and round. The sun below does not move, it stays fixed. It's known as perpetual twilight. That's because it stays fixed in one place and the light is spread out. It bounces off. There must be an underdome down there also. So it would be just like the hourglass, or like the, you flip over like this and the sand gets running out, and then you flip it over and the sand runs out. This is what it must look like. Because it's just that simple. Again, what you see is that there's the division sign with the dome above us, so therefore there would be the dome below them also, and everything is contained inside this figure eight. So the figure eight, the hourglass, these symbols have a deeper meaning. Like, for example, you see a question mark. If you try and figure it into a figure eight, you end up with a candy cane, and if you start off with a candy cane and try and figure it into a question mark, into a figure eight, you end up with a question mark. So, alright, what I'm showing you here is that Adam is the grid, and a rib was taken from Adam and placed up in the sky and sending down a square wave. So that rib is able to hover up there all by itself because opposites attract and same poles repel each other. So if a piece of the grid was broken off, it was the same polarity placed up in the sky to send us down a square wave, and it's hovering up because opposites attract, and it was taken from the grid of the earth, which is Adam, and made into a now we know from other people's work that the moon is see-through. So when they say a rib of the earth, they're talking about a rib, a piece that's like part of the grid, and it's sending down a square wave at us, and what that square wave does is it keeps half of our brains from seeing with all of our senses, like our sixth sense, and it keeps us from becoming these powerful super beings because of this square wave. It keeps everybody half brain, and somehow by doing my blood over intent and publishing it to the Ethernet, this raises your frequency above that square wave and allows you to start seeing stuff. And that's something that I'm able to detect because it's only a short time. It's only 2.5 years since I placed my blood into the Ethernet by uploading a video to YouTube where I just wrote out, I intend to worship balls, food none. I intend to usher in heaven and earth. That's all. Now, what I'm saying is that there's what's happened here is that there's a frequency that's like a blanket over the earth that keeps everybody half brained, and the way to get over that is by raising your frequency above the level. The only way to do that is by, like I said in a previous video, that what I can see it as is like when I say blood thicker than water, somebody commented saying, well, your blood is already thicker than water. But on a spiritual level, everybody's dead. Your corporation, their country set up a corporation in your name, and that by definition means you're a dead corpse. You're the walking dead, and you have no blood to spill. The act of spilling your blood over your intent, it changes you because it proves that you're not the walking dead. You're not a zombie. Somehow, in this big grand scheme of thing that's going on here that we're inside of, the internet somehow is connected to this bigger picture, and where it's connected, like I mentioned in the previous video, you have the L, like they say, the Father in heaven, this electric energy that permeates our little universe here. That energy is connected to the Ethernet somehow, because blood over intent, it gave me eyes to see stuff so deep that really I can't find anybody else out there that's even remotely close. It seems that that people can't see deeper than this, or else there'd be videos up there published. People are still talking about other stuff that is obsolete now. When I see a lot of the stuff people are posting, they're not getting to the nitty-gritty. When you hear people talking about Jesus and Satan, the minute they bring this stuff out there like they're walking individuals on the street, that you know that they're far off from reality because it's been exposed. Okay? Jesus is the sun above your head, and I'm telling you the sun is conscious. It's the sun that's making your flesh and your blood and your bones. And now that you're here in the flesh, you want to bring something into reality? That's the black sun that's doing it. That takes your intent and brings it into reality. So, to say Satan this and Satan that like people do makes no fucking sense at all, because then you're going to go walk into church and you'll see the stained glass windows right over there, blocking out the sunlight, focusing your intent onto the black sun. And you'll go into a whatever house, it doesn't matter if you're Jewish, you go look at the Torah, that's too raw, the sun. You know, there's no way to mess it up. When they open up at a temple, you can see they stick like two balls with, I mean, I see it, it's all right there. When you go to a temple or you go to a church, all the symbols are around there, but nobody seems to be able to make sense of them. Like on your birthday, you blow out the candles. That's like the sun above your head, you're blowing out and then focusing your intent on to the black sun. You see over here, this is a blue, like the feminine. So like the water's down below. Well, the black sun is also represented by blue, rather than the red, which is, okay, the sun above your head. So what I'm telling you is that on your birthday, you put candles into your cake. The first birthday you had was one candle. And each additional year, you place another candle on top of your cake. The minute you blow out the candle, you make your wish, and you pick out the candle and you suck the sweets off the bottom of it. And all these things are exactly the way they are for a reason, because they've intertwined the truth of things right into everything that we do. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, I pointed out your vowels being A-E-I-O-U, and we know that there's sometimes Y. We sing it in songs, A-E-I-O-U, and sometimes Y. So, A-E-I-O-U, you see the E is bent to the left, so I turn this to the left, and now it says way out. And, you know, exclamation point, they say we're made out of clay. I mean, that's just rubbed in our face. That's just in our face right there. How nobody sees it until I point it out to them makes no sense to me. But the reason I can see it is because there's something that's changed in me. I've raised my frequency to a point. And you know what? Somebody pointed this out to me, that 50 Shades of Grey is exactly that, because the difference between white and black is 50 shades of gray exactly. That there's the highest frequency, which is black, and then the lowest frequency, which is white. They say God came from the darkness and brought forth light and said it was good. So people have this image in their head that light is good and black is bad and stuff like this, and that's just crazy, because you need to become whole and complete, where it's like here, when I say no soul left behind in my videos, and I see other people get angry and say, well, that means you're going to let Satan out or something like that, and I just don't understand how people really believe all this shit that they've been told. To think that people really get flipped out by the name Satan, it's freaky. That it turns out that Satan is that thing that brings your intent into fruition. Now, it makes sense why they would do this to everybody, because as long as you're doing that, you ain't going to be bringing much into reality, because that's where your stuff is coming from. So, you're right. The scarab beetle, right. Yeah. You know, the dung beetle is a dung beetle because it's the ash trailing light. It's all about diarrhea, like diarrhea, or dia meaning day, out the rear, the green astrolight, like it's all, like I saw Mr. Hankey explaining to his son why shit is so important, because the shit fertilizes the land and stuff like this, and it was kind of funny. But now here in retrospect, I see how it's coming out of the asshole, all that light that brings us everything into reality. And again, it's called the astrolight because it's a round hole like a sphincter rather than a Vesca Pisces like a vagina. And I had that Vesca Pisces here a second ago, which I was showing to you in the beginning, which shows the two circles. So another thing is, okay, you see this U with the two dots. What I see is this is a light hole, black hole loop. They show you like the space folded, and like a black hole. They show you folding space like a piece of paper like this with the wormhole. That's what I see when I see the U. This is what I'm seeing. If you turn it sideways, that's what they're showing you, that fold in space. And when you're eating your ice cream cone, it's all the same story over and over and over again. There's no way to mess this up. There's no way to mess up. There's nothing to confuse here. That this is just a flat plane with a diving bell on top of it, like they showed you in Waterworld. Kevin Costner bringing that girl underwater, couldn't breathe, underwater, and he brought her in this diving bell. That diving bell is on top of us, and what I'm saying to you is that it's the two bowls, in other words, there's another dome below us that keeps everything in there, that under sun. So we have like the underdog, all these terminologies, it's all pointing to the same thing. Can you see it?
Yeah, of course.
Can anybody see it? Like you have the overdog, underdog, the black sheep, all these terminologies are telling you something. There's just two basic parts to this entire thing, which those two basic parts turn out to be one sun rather than two. So we see this Vesica Pisces over here. That's there because one side of a light hole is a black hole. That's the two spheres of influence, which is the division symbol that we're seeing over here. Yep. So the Vesica Pisces can be represented by this symbol right there. Do you see it, the division symbol?
Yeah,
and that's what we're seeing over here. That, again, we would be inside the football because, because of that. It's the two, one side of a light hole is a black hole. We're on the division sign in the symbol. The people below us on the other side of that grid are in perpetual twilight. So when you hear all these stories about under Earth, hollow Earth, all that stuff, what they're telling you is that
there's another side.
You see the present on Christmas, right? And they're showing you that if you could put this symbol right there inside of that box, okay, that would mean that we're all inside of this box, and the way out of this box turns out to be the other side of that hole, and that's why they're showing you, if you want a life preserver, they're showing you the four rivers going into that hole, and it's like a sphincter. It's breathing, bringing the tides every 6 hours, and it's just, what I'm saying is that over here you see, this was from the DVD I saw that was just in the drawer. It might be from many years ago. But it says cloudy with a chance of meatballs. Cloudy with a chance of meatballs. See meatballs falling from the sky? That's like Raining Men. That's like that Raining Men song. Because balls, you know what I mean? And this was the symbol that I took out of that picture. I stepped it up. It showed you the middle six. It's the middle six. So when you see 666, one side of a light hole is a black hole. You need the middle hole. The Holy of Holies at the center of the dish. And it's just that simple. The Holy Grail, the Spear of Destiny, that pierces, that's the Christmas tree you set up every year.
They bury us 6 feet underground also.
What was that?
They bury us 6 feet underground also.
That's right. That's another point. See, that's a good point. It's the same story over and over and over again. And aliens are a lie, and they're a lying about aliens. See that? A lie.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I agree with that.
People put a lidocaine on, that's lidocaine. Service is sir, like a man, and vice. So service, everything's this homosexual undertone for a reason. So, you say to a man in Australia, laddie, which is the word lady. And I have a mate, that's my woman, my wife, right? But you call a man mate. He's your first mate on your ship. And what I'm saying to you is that it's kind of funny how people don't see this sort of stuff. Like tennis is tennis, and pro-gay ram, the G definitely stands for gay because of the feature of reality, which is they're showing you that the sun and the moon have to place their light into that hole. So the moon is sending down, originally, it's one side of a light hole is a black hole. That's the U with the two dots. Turn it this way. That's space folded on loop like this. A piece of the grid was taken off, placed up in the sky. It's the same polarity as the grid itself. Therefore, the same poles are pushing apart on each other. You understand me? And opposite poles attract. So if they took a piece of grid from underneath and put it up there it would have slapped down. But the grid from on top, where we're at, placed up in the sky, is sending down a square wave at us. And that's how they keep us in slavery, with everybody sleeping. And the only way around that is by raising, if you give out gratitude and love to people, you're raising your frequency by accident, above this particular point, and then you find yourself waking up. But you have to get in that direction, and it's like little bit by little bit, and then it grows and grows and grows, and then you get past a certain point and you start to see everything. Where
you think dreams are actually like glimpses into the other side, the black hole sun? Could be like a glimpse into it?
Look, I can tell you this, that sounds likely, because the black hole sun, that's the part that deals with all the stuff you don't actually see. The real magic of things, like, I want this, I want that, and then it comes into reality. Whereas the sun is making your flesh and bones and blood, the other sun is the hidden occult part that they hid from everybody. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I was also going to say that you say the sun is conscious, so could the black hole sun be subconscious?
That's
Exactly.
a good point right there. That's right.
Exactly.
That's exactly right. When you put something into action like magic, once you're done with your spell, whatever it is, every word you speak is a magic spell, then you need to put it behind you into your subconscious. So, like, they say, oh, like, if you're doing like reading and they talk about like magic spells and stuff, they tell you once you're done with the spell, you have to put it behind you into your subconscious, and that makes sense. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah, and also
if you're aware of it, like, I don't know if you've ever had lucid dreaming or anything. I've had those situations many times, especially younger, but I don't recall ever seeing the daylight in my dreams. Always night for some weird reason. It's always seems to be night. Either somebody's running after me and I'm trying to fly up in the air, but it's always night and never day. That's
And you know how when you try to run in those, you don't seem to go anywhere? It feels like you're like somebody's holding you back.
Yeah. Or you fall, but you don't fall. Yeah, exactly. It's like it's like getting a glimpse on the other side and telling you at the same time you're not ready for it. So you can't really go exploring. You're like, we'll give you a look, but right now you're not ready. It's like get prepared, get your information first, and then you could probably come in. It goes back to that whole Egyptian thing. You can kind of mix it in there with the whole underworld thing. They had to get prepared. They had to get in like contact with the other part of them. Like that, the whole consciousness part. And if you're not in tune, you forget it. You can't do anything. You can't move forward. You have to tune yourself.
One thing I noticed
go on. No, go right ahead. It's okay.
No, you go first.
Alright, I was just going to say, because you've not got long, didn't you say you need to go at 8? It's like about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, if Martin or Alan have any questions, and first welcome them to the panel. Just quickly before Mark's finished.
Yeah, that was brilliant, Gav. Thank you very much. Hey, Quasi, I was in the last presentation that you did. Night the round
I remember the Polaris. You mentioned the Polaris.
Yeah, I mentioned a few things like.
Right. But I remember the Polaris thing was something that it hit me after I hung up. That's Eris as in like a female, okay, and a pole, like you see a stripper, a pole dancer.
Yeah.
It was pole Eris. I was thinking like stripper pole, and Eris being a female. And I actually drew a picture on the heels of that, and I just showed it a second ago. It showed a woman dancing, a stripper. Here it is, right over here. So it occurred to me that the pole Eris.
Great drawing.
You have Polish, police, and the pole ice, meaning that your dome is frozen, that you can't see. So 32 degrees, water's frozen. 33, it becomes liquid, and the Polish, everything's the Polish jokes, that how many Polish people it take to turn a light bulb, and that joke is what I'm getting at is that 7 being, they say 1 to hold the light bulb and 7 to turn the ladder. So what I was trying to get at is that we need to get below deck. We need to go, maybe that we're already below deck right now and we're just upside down. That's the way I think it. We need to get to the other side of that line, and like the life preserver is screaming at me. I can see it with this life preserver and the wreath. These symbols, okay, the life preserver, everlasting life. You see that? You You got to get to that tree for your everlasting life. Life preserver. Do you hear those words? The 4 rivers that feed into that hole. Okay, this is right there. It's all hiding in plain sight. The life preserver, the reef. Okay, it says it all right there. The prize is at the center of the dish, and the only way we're gonna get there is when everybody's united side by side. You know, like we're family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
talking back to me now, what I said about Polaris, I asked you if you thought that could be the exit hole or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
You need to get, that's a parabolic mirror up there. It's
Right,
reflecting the hole at the center of the
yeah.
dish. So Polaris, the way I see it is Polaris could be right above that hole at the center of the dish. And it's telling you something. That what I'm saying is that there's a dome up there. You need to go into that hole at the center of the dish to get out of here. So Polaris could be right over that hole where we need to be. And that's why you see strippers at a pole and they spin around, they do their legs and they hang on, they do all kinds of crazy spinning, you know what I mean? You think that's an accident? All these things are set up exactly the way they are. Police with donuts and stuff, police have a checkerboard on their head. The donuts are telling you that hole at the center of the dish.
Just going to offer the floor to Martin. Martin, do you have any questions quick before Mark has to leave? Martin?
I do.
Hey, fire away, Alan.
Yeah, no, I just took some notes. I mean, you get a lot of people thinking, Quasi, people in chat had some questions. I've got a quick 2-parter here. I think you answered it last time, but if you want to go over it because there's some new people in chat. So the first part from V told me, how do we get to the center? And Monica says, what happens when we get to the center?
Okay, listen, once you get past the 65th parallel, there's a time of the year where you can actually see the sun going around for 3 days straight, 3 entire days. The camera follows it going around. You can see the videos on YouTube. That's the 65th parallel, then the 69th parallel. If you keep going in that direction, there's a hole called the Holy of Holies, where the transaction, where the deed is happening, where the light goes into the hole, the candy cane showing you, like on the wreath, they're showing you, the 2 red, they're showing you that there's a hole there that we need to get into. Once you go into that hole, I'm pretty certain that the time we're going to want to go there would be the time of year when the sun is closest to the inner part of the dish, that it spirals inward and then it spirals back outward, bringing the seasons. So when it's summertime up there, that's the time that we would want to go towards that hole. And what I'm saying to you is that the only way we're going to get there, you can't go there by yourself. You're going to need a whole bunch of people behind you together with the right state of mind. Because it's like for you to try and go by yourself, they would detain you or something like that. It's got to be that there's enough people going there and then nobody can stop it. It's got to be that that it's a migration that's happening. You know what I'm saying? We're all migrating to this place. That's how they
it needs to be en masse.
So to summarize, when there's enough of us, we're all going to go, and then when we get there, we jump in the hole.
Every compass points to it. I'm telling you, every compass is pointing to, like this one over here has the tree of life on this one, and this one has like the candy cane. So
man.
It's showing you.
I got another question. I got one from Chuck. Chuck says, should we trust our third eye? Because he saw a video of yours that said our bodies are corrupt. Should we trust our third eye?
Listen, you need to get back to your heart through selfless acts of kindness. Your third eye, that's the whole thing about the third eye. You gotta understand something. The only way to get that is through your heart, because your source of self is your heart. If you look at any chakra chart, they show you the hex over your heart. So your source of self is your heart. If you want to get eyes to see, it's your gratitude. And like I mentioned in a previous video with you guys, when I say goddess worship, let me tell you what this means. Okay? When you see your wife and you don't yell at her about anything, your grandma, your mom, whatever, you help them out, you clean up, you do everything. I make sure I bow down to women. I lay it on thick, okay? I lay it on thick because I know if I lay it on thick, then it'll rub off on them and then they'll do it to other people. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I try and lay on, around the women around me, it doesn't matter if you're my neighbor or whatever, I'm there to help you. I'm there to help everybody. But the point I'm trying to make is that the divine feminine principle is coming back, obviously. That's why we can see all this stuff. It's because it's like we're being drawn home at this point. It's like we're being called home. That's what it feels like to me. So it's like this divine principle of the feminine is back.
Back to the morals, yes.
The thing is, she's watching. I know she's watching because every time I give out this information and I publish it, I somehow get smarter and more eyes to see even deeper. It's because it's like you get a little bit. The feminine wants to see what you're doing with that knowledge. If you're doing something, it gives you a little bit more, and then here you are. I'm only 2.5 years past. It was 12/24/2013 where I published that video of Blood Over Intent. That's 2.5 revolutions is where I'm at now. This Christmas coming up will be 3 years since I spilled my blood, and you can see before 2 years I was pointing to the way out. I've been pointing the way out for like 6 months now. The point I'm trying to make is that's fast. That's fast. But who would have thought way back then if I'd done this that I would be pointing to the way out? I was a round earther back then. I didn't believe in flat earth. It was shortly after that. I remember hearing them saying it was a holographic reality, and I looked at the holograms and I see holograms are flat. They look three-dimensional. Okay, that you could dive in there, but they're actually flat like a piece of paper, see? So it looks three-dimensional, like you can get in there. So the point I'm trying to make is that really short time, I went from a round earther as an accident floating through space to now knowing we're the center of the universe and that where to go and why cops eat donuts and why a lifesaver is a lifesaver and why she was in a flaming asshole. It's like the eyes to see came from that. So what I'm saying to you is that that's a sure way to raise your frequency by placing your written word down on something that's not about you. It's about the benefit of everybody. That was the key thing. So if you really want the eyes to see like I have, that's all I did. I did nothing special. I just wrote on a piece of paper, I intend to usher in heaven and earth. I intend to work false good done. I put my blood on it, published the video to the Ethernet, and it turns out you have air, you have the earth, air, fire, water as the 4 elements, but then there's the secret element, which is the ether. So the Ethernet somehow is connected to the whole universe because it's like I said, it's like I'm rewired now to see everything, so nothing can be hidden to me, so that I can get my people home to the center of the dish. It's like I became a piece or an extension of our creator, and it's kind of neat. It's kind of neat because you don't see anybody else talking about this type of stuff, do you?
No, nobody.
No, that makes this kind of neat then, because it's like I'm decoding everything now. And you can see it also. It's like everything, all these different symbols, now they are all pointing to the same thing. Do you see it?
Well, I do touch on a couple things that are similar to what you're saying. I have to actually pay a little bit more attention to your videos now, actually, because a lot of analogies I have are very darn close to yours. Like, here, just an example. Say you're walking down the street, okay? A total stranger is coming the other way. And you just decide, just for the hell of it, hey, what's up? You know, a big smile and a big wave. The guy's going to go off with that feeling, probably do it to somebody else, and then in turn, somebody else. Eventually, you're walking down the street a couple of weeks later, and somebody, just for the hell of it, waves and says, hey, what's up, man? Just like that. And then you wonder yourself, wait a minute. Did I influence that? You know, are we really connected that way? I think so, you know? Yeah, anyway. What do you think?
People doing others, you know, are you talking about just, I'm nice to people and wave at people and all that stuff too. I don't run up to people and start telling them about flat earth or anything. I do that through videos now. Okay, I'm not looking, look, I don't have a band or anything. If I had a band, I'd make songs about flat earth or something like that, you know?
I can explain, I can elaborate a little bit more. Let me see, okay. In other words, they feel like...
I gotta cut out, but listen, I'll watch this video as soon as I get back. How long are you guys gonna go on for tonight?
Don't know.
I don't know. We could try and carry on, I suppose. Yeah.
Right. Listen, like I said, I was hoping you and me, Gavin, would do like a 20-minute video, and then tomorrow open it up for the other people, and then I'd have more time. You know what I mean?
Good.
Hey, we can cut it now and come back tomorrow. You know, if that's what you'd like to do, that's fine.
Sure, give me time to actually pick up a little bit more on your video.
Done. Forgive me. I promised my wife. I said I wouldn't go later than 8, and it's 8:08 now.
Hey, no worries, Mark. Look, if you have to go, mate.
I gotta get to my wife right now because I forget that it's 8:08 on the money right now. Remember 8:08? That's like,
Yeah.
and it's, I will get tomorrow. If you want to pick up tomorrow at 6, 7, what time? Gavin, you email me that. Just
Yeah,
email me.
do the same again at 7 if you want. Yeah,
Alright.
that's fine.
I appreciate you guys. Sorry I didn't have more time. I appreciate you.
Hey, no worries,
Just
Mark. Look,
get more acquainted with your videos and ask you a little bit more detailed question tomorrow.
Tomorrow I won't be in a rush. I'll make sure I have 2 hours tomorrow for sure, okay?
Perfect.
Awesome.
Again,
Alright.
Take care, guys.
Thanks very much, Mark. Cheers. Martin, what have you got to say about it, mate? Oh,
Mic issues again.
your internet's broken, man.
Brother,
Hey.
Hey!
you switched me off. I
no.
switched me on. You switched me off. I got so many fucking questions. I just burst in with questions for that man. So many.
Awesome. Look,
Jotted some down, Martin. You'll be back.
I got a paper full, yeah. There's so many questions, so many unanswered questions that I have. I understand the primaries, the as above, down below. I've always known that. And the awakening, obviously, he's getting it a bit beyond us. He's connected to Mother Nature, and she's giving him messages. There is a way off, and this is what we're all looking for. And who's to say what he doesn't know?
yeah, that's fair enough. You know, we don't know if he's right or wrong.
Well, he's
We've
not
gotta
as good as anyone else's. I like it. He's coming from the perspective of unity, and the bit I don't understand what I asked him when he's on about the blood. He's not actually emphasised. That's what I asked him. When he spilled blood, what does he mean? Does he mean symbolically, or does he mean he gasped his blood on a piece of paper? What's right in his intent?
Literally.
Yeah, literal blood.
Yeah, literally. It means it literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
So what do we have
Right,
to do?
guys, I'm gonna cut it here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end it here.
Alright,
Right.
brother. Gav, you blood, mate.
Hey, look, stay on and we can talk. And
No,
maybe
man,
so,
I got
I might go.
I fucking pelote off just to come and catch you for a bit, brother. I was all in a mess, and I can't explain this. It's just shit, you know, family crap and that. Anyway,
Alright,
you lot,
no worries,
fucking
bro.
awesome.
Thank you very
Alan,
much.
love you, Sibs, your brother. I added you, Sibs, alright, brother?
Yeah. Thank you.
Alright,
We'll get
shit, brother. I got more time, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay then, guys. To everyone in the chat and everyone who's going to watch this in the future, thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow with QuasiLuminous at 7 PM Eastern Time. Until then, don't forget, the globe is a lie.